Officially, good afternoon. Welcome to the Market Watch Group Weekly Market Wrap. My name is Scott. I will be your host. Ooh, man, I'll tell you what. We've had like huge numbers. 20 people. Now today we've only got a handful again. Where is everybody on this Friday afternoon? I love Friday afternoons. Those of you who are here, pat yourselves on the back. I salute you. Those of you listening at home, please try to join us. Remember, this is for education illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give investment recommendations or trading advice. What are we going to do? We're going to talk about today's market. I was thinking about a trade, but not now, not into this close. It doesn't look like. Tell me if you want to throw a symbol out of one you were thinking about. We talked about a couple yesterday. They just didn't seem to materialize. The one that I was looking at the hardest. Tell me if you were thinking. It's quiet out there. A little too quiet. A little too quiet. Rocket Lab. RKLB. Anyone see that? John says he's running for the hills. Hey, listen. Maybe that's where we end up going is to a hedge trade, or if it's not a hedge because you're out of trades. I'm still in sponge model. Got it, Kevin. Appreciate it. Sandy. That's interesting because I noticed the same thing. I did get a good split. The bid ask was wider than I would expect based on the amount of volume I saw. You're going to see some of that anytime there's a little bit extra vol, but I noticed that as well. That's a really great observation. Okay. What are you going to carry over the weekend? That's a conversation we want to have. What are we looking forward to next week? That's a conversation we want to have. Review the opportunity list, trading plan progress. Okay, let's go look. There's Rocket Lab. You can see the pullback. Earlier it was a little higher. Now it just still looks like it's stalling down here. What's the other thing? Well, the tariffs are supposed to kick in like tomorrow, right? February 1st. And a lot of people are thinking it's bluster, it's saber rattling, but if they put them on, there is a very good chance that we see reciprocal tariffs put into place. In which case, do we have, as the larger economy in all of these situations, more power? Yes. Does everybody suffer? Yes. I don't know. I think the markets are a little worried about that kind of what we wake up to on Monday. Let's go look. Let's go look and talk about a few things. See what we think. Trump's tariff deadline looms, leaving markets on edge. So earlier we're like, oh, maybe he won't. And then it's just like, In fact, there was some specific language. There was a report that said it could be pushed back, but they came out and said, no, that report's wrong. Well, we're going to go forward. And then the markets took a little tumble, and that's where it's like, you know what? My Walmart trade was over at that point. You can see the Nasdaq's turned negative, Dow down 0.69, Russell 0.85, Dow 0.4, Nasdaq 0.36. So big news, tariffs. New inflation reading reinforces Fed's go slow strategy. So Trump's talking about tariffs and trying to demand interest rate cuts. The Fed is absolutely not going to go ahead of schedule. I think that's clear. We're going to look at this, the Fed watch. I think that's clear that they're not going to. As of now, I'm saying June is the earliest. May would be a surprise. March is out of the question. Not with this reading. No way. Okay, so we had gains and we gave them up. What else? What else? How oil emerged the central sticking point in Trump tariff talks. Where is oil? Oil is kind of flat for the day. Meta and talks. Trump to meet. Costco preparing for strike. Oh, goodness. I didn't know that. I hope that doesn't affect the rotisserie chickens. I think that's everything. Economists rush to react to Trump's moving tariff targets. Yeah, it's hard to know, right? That's the only thing that's really shaking up the market right now is the thought process of tariffs. And so I think that is what's going to prevent us. Tender hooks in Canada. Okay, Kevin. Yeah, right. I mean, it's not. I just don't think that's the right global economic policy. Cooperation over adversarialism, I guess. I don't know. Is my thought. Okay, what else? Well, let's talk about what else. Here's SPY. Let me get my keyboard. Okay. SPY for today's market. What is our concern here? Maybe there's going to be a trade after all, and it's not a hedge unless you have a couple of bullish trades on, which I might have at least one on, and you might too. What do I not like here? This is the old high. We started to make a move, and then abruptly today, yesterday we got this cross, and today it abruptly reverses with a engulfing pattern. We have negative volume back here on Monday. Today, we've got 45 minutes right now. Average volume is 48. We're at 37. I don't know. It could do it. It could get it. But this is not. We don't like this a lot. Let's go look at the VIX and see if the VIX, I don't know. It could. VIX. Oh, and there it is. Yeah, honestly, I don't like that at all. Let's talk about a hedge. If you're not in a bullish trade, this would not be a hedge because you have nothing to hedge. If you have a bullish trade, that's a question. I know we're a small but mighty group today, but here's the question. Do you have bullish trades that you're going to carry through the weekend? 1, 2, 3, more? Do you have those trades? If you're carrying a bullish trade, it's a hedge. If you're not, it's a speculation. So Sandy said 0. So it's not a hedge trade. She's not hedging anything. You can't hedge 0. So what would this be? This would be, hey, the market's dropped. Our posture dropped. It's recovered a little bit, but we've said, hey, we might not be out of the woods just yet. Then do you decide to take a speculative bearish trade? That's what this would be. But I'm thinking about it. Let's build it. Let's talk about it. What would that look like? The AXP trade is down a little bit. That's the one I might still hold. And BAC. Let's go look at those two trades before we go any further. Walmart. Actually, let's start with Walmart. I shut Walmart down. Down in this area here. You know, a little higher than we are now. But basically when I'm like, oh yeah, this thing is done. We're out. You can see what's happened here. The buyers have capitulated. It's done what we've asked it to do. Took the profit. Done. Is anybody still in that trade? If you are, tell me what you're looking for that you're holding for over the weekend. Right? So that's Walmart. Let's go look at Bank of America. Bank of America. Yeah, done. Done on that one. Whoops. No reason to hold that through the weekend. Let me know your thoughts if you're in it. I'm done with mine. And the last thing we have is AXP. I'm actually okay with AXP. Look at the volume. Really, really, really low volume. We're still in the range of this. We're still kind of at this level. Our support level's back down here, so we haven't even tested it, let alone broke it. I'm gonna hold my AXP trade. That's where I stand. Let me know if anyone is in or doing anything differently. What do I make of the JPM gold bullion move in reaction to tariffs? Honestly, John, JP Morgan buy additional gold. I didn't see exactly what their move was. Or maybe they've been buying it. You can kind of see that maybe that bullish reaction is a defensive posturing in against tariffs. That's beyond like what I do or have studied. It was at the bottom of the news page. Sorry, okay, I'll go take a peek at. But I'll tell you, I don't have much of a reaction. I don't really. I don't watch gold. I watch gold. I don't really trade gold. I don't really try to understand the fundamentals of gold. I don't understand what it would mean to be like some sort of a defense against tariffs. Like, is that sound advice? I don't know. Plans $4 billion gold delivery. What does that mean, a gold delivery? Does that mean they're buying it or selling it? Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. Will deliver gold against futures at a time when surging prices and the threat of import tariffs are fueling a worldwide dash to ship metal to the U.S. Okay. All right. 30 million troy ounces of gold. Woo! Goodness. Okay. What's happening next week that we also want to be aware of? Monday, not much. So if there's news coming out of tariffs, there's not much that's going to stop it. It's first week of the month, so we have an employment data week. Job openings on Tuesday, ADP on Wednesday, jobless claims on Thursday, non-farm payrolls on Friday. Expecting a little dip, but still above maintenance levels there. Still keeping it 4.1. Still expecting low 200s. 122 is what we had. They haven't put out expectations. Job openings last time unexpectedly jumped back above 8 million. We're not that worried about jobs. We're worried about tariffs. That simple. It's that simple. So let's talk about what a hedge trade might look like. Okay. Hedge or speculative. My formula to make it easy, is I do a very simple thing. I'm going to take the SPY. I'm going to take that recent high price of 610. And I'm going to multiply it by 0.95. 580. 580 is what? That's a strike price. That's 5% out of the money. 5% out of the money down here. Okay? And I'm going to go 5 weeks out in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. March 7th. March 7th. That's what I do. 5% out of the money. 5 weeks out in time. What would I hope to pay? $2 or less? I think. Oh, goodness gracious. 372. Sometimes I go from the current price. Let me just go from the current price. 602 times point. No. Hold on. 602 times 0.95. Be more like 572. If I go a few more strikes out of the money, not traded. 570s. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to pay 360. I was hoping they'd be $2 or less. 256. 256. And we'll just look at a couple of contracts. Now, if I had 2 contracts, what would my thought process be here? Let's think about 595 and 580 as just 2 levels. 595. $595 and 580. So, if you've ever thought, what would make me go bearish? Well, here you go. This is what we're talking about. Where would I be wrong? Let's just put it right above the top of this thing. 610. If it gets back to 610, I'm wrong. Back to 610, I'm wrong. And, of course, it'll be through the weekend. Let's go to the 5th of next week. 5th of February. Sorry. I'm like, wait a second. Way too far. 250 for 2 contracts. All right, that makes some sense. That's okay. It's about around what we normally might do. 595. You can see if it just makes a little dip to 595, that's not enough. Where do we 125 a piece? Where do we get 250 on the other side? Right there. 592. Okay, 592. 592 is that gets us 1-to-1. You can see if it gets down to 580 where we get a full 5%, then this thing gets us almost 4-to-1, although actually more like 3-to-1 if it takes a little bit more time. I want to plan that. I'm not bearish. This is just kind of a, hey, let's think about putting something like this on. What did I just do? 610. Let's move it down here. Okay, this is where we are now. This is where we are now. That's break even as of next week. That's target at one point. That's a target at another point. That's our stop. Yeah. Let me ask this question. Have you ever who has taken bearish trades before? Have you ever bought a put before? Because here's what I would say. If you're hedging, that's one thing. If you're doing this for the first time, obviously I'm going to say that you should do it on paper first, right? This should be a paper trade first. But I am thinking that this might be, I've never done one and I've thought about it, but with these tariffs looming, yeah, I kind of like that thought process. What is going on? Why can I not move this? There we go. All right, let's get... Let me get something ready here. Thoughts, questions. I want to hear from you guys. It's quiet today. We definitely don't love what the market's doing right now. I'm going to put this as a hedge. Give me just a second to get this ready. I want questions. There has to be questions. Has to be questions. Entry range, we're going to put it right around 602. Not above 602.50. Stop range, we're going to say around 610 to 611. Primary target, we're going to put down at 580 for a 5% move. And we're going to say 592 for a little bit of a take profit. Time and trade. This should go pretty quickly. This is more like a 5 to 7 days. Walk upstairs, fall out windows. We're thinking this is going to give us about a 3.5 to 1 on the full amount. Volatility index, it's pretty low right now. That's part of why we're doing this. Cheap options for a hedge. Long calls, where are we going? We are going to March. March 7th, 25. And we are looking at the 570 strike. Out of the money, right? Out of the money. Cost is going to be about 255, we'll say. Amount of risk, 125. This is what it looks like. This is what's going to come out. These are Friday working sessions, so I'm going to put this out. What time is it? 1:30. So we're going to get to... Oh my gosh, I cannot drag things today. We're going to get to the rest of our agenda. We're going to get to the rest of that agenda here in just a little bit. But for now, give me just a second, and I am going to post this. Okay. The hedge trade. I'm kind of excited. SPY. Now let's see. This is we're going to call this an SPY hedge alert, and today's date is 1/31. All right. Anyone just joining? Good to have you. We are building. You can see it up here. This is a hedge/bear trade for an alert. So I'm going to go now and post this and send the email out. I'm hoping that, like, if you're thinking about this, you're working on it on your other screen during these sessions. You're building it yourself, thinking, "Hey, would I do it this way? How many contracts would I do? Or at least paper trading, right? Like paper trading it and doing some work. That's my hope. Let me know if that's what happens. But I am going to put this out for anyone who's not here but wants to possibly think about this. So let's get this ready to go. New post. Here I was thinking there wouldn't be, and all of a sudden, here we are. Does that look right? 602 entry, 610, 580, 590. You guys know I'm prone to like missing a number somewhere. So keep me honest. 570 strike, 3.5 to 1 low. Yep, that looks good. That looks good. I'm going to publish that. I do like doing it live, but it sometimes feels like it's like almost a little awkward because I'm like, everyone's just kind of watching when I'm trying to do the administrative parts. I hope it's not awkward on your end. And you guys are so quiet today. So quiet. Is anyone carrying any trades? Sandy said no. Is anybody carrying a trade? Or two? Bullishly? Any? Are you thinking about this from a hedge standpoint, or are you thinking about it from a speculative standpoint? Are you thinking about it from a paper trade standpoint, or not thinking about it? Right? What camp do you find that you find yourself in as we talk about a hedge slash alert for SPY, and then as I multitask, obviously my ADD kicks in and I start to type that it's January 32nd, things like that. Everybody knows there's no January 32nd. It's a bunch of nonsense. All right. Now I have the email. Give me a second. I'm going to go check in on the chatting. Whoops, that's the wrong box. Who's taking this trade? Anyone? There's some chat. Still holding AXP. Clint said, me too. Me too. Paper trade, John, I love it. Will hedge with SPY, love it. AXP and DAL, okay. Thank you, guys. I feel like we're all kind of in the same boat to some extent. I mean, it feels just a bit dodgy. Took it, love it. I'm going to place it here. Let me just see what that happens there. I'm not sure what the price will be. I got to send this email out real quickly here. All right. If you did take it and you got executed, let us know what price you got. Right? Let us know what price you got. Press, good to see you. Anyone else who may have joined late, you can see on the screen, that's the alert. It's a hedge. It's a bear speculative or a hedge. So if you're like, I've been thinking about a put, there it is. That's the kind of the thought process. That's based off of what? That's based on the SPY in a bearish engulfing pattern with the VIX turning into an escalated position, right? So that's kind of the thing where we're like, hey, I'm shutting down some bulls. I took profit on Walmart, shut it down. Took a loss on Bank of America, shut it down. Neither one of those was something that I was looking to maintain. Save. Lee, welcome. Same for you. If you're just joining, that's the trade. I posted it. You can see it in the circle. I'm sending the email now. We all know Fridays are a little bit different. Trying to get these live and at the same time. But yeah, we're just following our plan. Continue. Got it. Okay, good. Any questions about it? Let me know. Anyone has a question about number of contracts or risk or what the thought process is. But when we hedge, it's not like we want to have a very specific hedge plan. 255. Nice. Yeah, we want to have a specific plan for how we're going to manage that. We don't. So many times I see people put hedges on, and then by the time they get out of them, it's like they still took losses on their bullish trades, and then they didn't take any gains on their hedges. And it's like, well, then you rode the hedge back up, and then it's counterproductive. SPY, yep, SPY. 5 weeks out in time, press 5% out of the money. 570s, maybe a little more, maybe like 6, depending on if you're calculating off the high or off of the current. 570 strikes, so a little. I mean, it's not, we're not dogmatic, you know that. Somewhere around 5 to 6% out of the money is where I'm trying to go. I looked at 5 and it was just a little too expensive, to be honest with you. I was like, I don't want to pay $360 for this thing, so I went a little further out of the money even than that. Okay, I got to send this. So bad at typing and sending things simultaneously. It's a miracle I can even speak while doing both things simultaneously. So, good questions though. Thank you for asking. Anybody else carrying anything different? Took 3 weeks out, got for $141. Okay, Sandy. Okay. Let's talk about how that works out, because if it sticks to a 5 to 7 day plan, you're going to be fine, right? You're going to be fine. But if it drags or if it goes and then stalls and you're like, I'm going to see if it can keep going, the time decay could get you, because a 5% move, we're still out of the money. Yeah, there you go. We'll watch carefully. AXP is dragging, Steve. It is dragging. I don't like it. I'm gonna hold it because it's not even really at support, right? Okay. I've got to get faster at these emails. I've got to get faster. The problem is something like this has to be on. This has got to be on or you're too late, right? So I wanted to get this out with at least 20 minutes left. Trying to get it out a little bit sooner. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do it, you can't be like, oh, on Monday the news has happened. And look, at the end of the day, it could be where they do decide we're not going to do tariffs. And then if that's the case, it may rally and we'll have to take a loss. And that's part of what hedging. Guess what? If you drive really safely all year long, you take a loss on all the premiums you paid for your car insurance. But you're still pretty happy that you did, because you're better off than getting in a car accident, right? And it's the same kind of a thought process. We're doing this for a reason. Either A, you're hedging, or B, you're speculative. So if when you're done with this, you're like, man, I didn't want to. It's not that the trade was wrong. The trade is everything we need it to be. It checks all the boxes, meets all the rules. right? But it's a matter of expectations. So that's what's tough about, I wanted to make sure I designate bearish with hedge on through another service, have a SPY 221 615. So this is a good hedge. Okay, there you go. There you go. Balance. Okay, let's go talk about our posture and what else. So yeah, that's a good discussion. I mean, you can kind of see even now we're really starting to push those lows and really dig down. You remember I said we might get there for negative volume. Here it is, 48 million. And now we're at 43 and a half. And we still have 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, we need to get how many? If average volume is 48.6, we need another 2.4. So that's 49, 50, 51 and change. So we need 8 million more in the last 20 minutes. 8 million, 20 minutes. Will that happen? Yesterday we got 2, 3.5, 4.5, 4.7, 5.7, 6.5. I mean, maybe, right? Maybe. I don't. It'll be interesting to see. But what are we gonna do for our market posture? Long-term trend is gonna stay the same. Right? Let's get to the weekly chart. I feel like this red line that we have looks pretty good. That seems to be right for now. We'll see. But look, if it gets down to 580, we're going to break that line again. So we'll see what happens. But for now, this looks okay. This looks fine. That score is going to stay the same. 6 months. What happened? We gapped down and then we came up. I think that our current score is fine, 1.25. There's nothing that happened there. Volume could stay at minus 2.5. We thought it could maybe go to 0 and start ticking back up. I think it could stay at minus 0.25. It could even drop. It could even drop a bit further to. It could even drop a bit further to minus 0.5 potentially. Yeah. Major market, I don't think anything, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see there. We'll see if sector rotation starts to show some weakness. It hasn't yet. It's been remarkably resilient. The VIX, it's going to stay the same. Why the same? Remember, the VIX was going to give us a better score. The VIX was going to give us a higher low, or excuse me, a lower high. VIX. The VIX was going to give us a lower high score back here when it turned up. But now what? Sorry. Let me zoom in on it. The lower high score here turned down. But the problem is we've now turned back up. So here we gained 1/4 of a point. And here, what the market giveth, the market taketh away. It got close. This got as low as 1490. We needed it to go as low as 1459. And so we're saying, look, and body-wise, it's not even close. Body-wise, these were down here around 1480, and this one is at 1550. So this is going to cancel itself out. At this point, for me, I think our market posture is probably going to stay the same or drop back a little bit or pull back a little bit. A little bit's fine if it's stabilizing. right? It's stabilizing. Then what? Well, it's really about these tariffs. If the tariff situation escalates and they absolutely put them on, and then the other countries say, well, okay, but then we're going to have to do it back, which they will. And then it becomes a tariff war. Market's not going to respond well to that. And that's kind of what we're thinking about when we're protecting and why we're hesitating, why the market's hesitating here as we get toward the end of the week and the end of the market day. Yeah, right? I think, hey, if we can hold, but if this thing turns over, if it stays at a 5 and then this turns over and then next week we have like a sell-off and then we drop down to like a 3, at that point I think, yeah, there's a good chance we're moving towards correction. And I would definitely be more willing to speculate to the downside at that point. Right? The failure of the buyers to take control right now certainly adds strength to a case to be made to trade in the direction of sellers. So yeah, we're a bit precarious right now. We're teetering. Give me your thoughts. How do you feel going into the weekend? How do you feel like you're positioned for this? Any concerns? I mean, other than the obvious concerns that it's going to happen and then the market's going to get volatile and things like that. But what concerns do you have? What would help you feel more in control? We don't control, obviously we can't control much, but what we can control, we want to make sure we do control. All right. No questions. Everyone's feeling all right. Let's hit the watch list. Glad I don't have any trades on. I like the hedge. I mean, honestly, that's literally verbatim what I would say. Right? Took some profits. Took profits that far exceeded the loss I took. I took a loss. It wasn't terrible at all. Not a bad loss at all. It was a pat myself on the back kind of a loss. Like, hey, you know what? I took a stab. Took a chance. No harm, no foul. Took a gain. Take one, carrying it through. I agree with that sentiment. I like that. Your last hour dips, though, right? I'm telling you. All right, let's hit our watch list. Let's just see where it puts us. Oh, before I do, don't forget. I remind everyone every week, second week, we're about to move on to trading rules. Get your market posture routine hammered out. At least a sentence or two for each routine. At least a sentence or two about each of these things. A bullet point list of things like this that talk about what your options are. What types of trades? You might just be like, hey, I'm either buying stock or buying calls. That's all I do. As you learn more, you might add more to that. Length of trades. I mean, just things like this, right? Hedging. You just got a good taste of what we do. We have some automatic signals, I do, that I look for that say, hey, when the VIX is escalating, that tends to give us an opportunity to try to get something on in advance, especially if you're carrying trades. That's a hedge. If you're not carrying trades, then you get to decide, are you willing to speculate? Well, with our posture having dropped the way it has, with it struggling to get moving again, with us, on the cusp of something that could really rattle the markets with these tariffs, yeah, speculative trade makes a little bit of sense, potentially. Or at least to paper trade, right? At least a paper trade. Watch list. Watch list. Yeah, kind of a funky close for sure, Miguel. I mean, look at that. So strong to start. Now it's this big engulfing pattern. Honestly, I don't care. I'm still, all I know is it did this. Whether or not this thing was warranted, I don't even care if that exists or not. This is all the same thing to me. If it comes back here and turns, me and Apple are going to do some business together. That's it. Oh, Amazon. Okay, Amazon. You're trying? Yeah. Okay. App 11. No, need a pullback. AXP. Come on, AXP. Come on. You're trying. Look at it. It's off its lows. A lot of things aren't. You can do it. Bank of America rolled. It rolled. It turned. It needed to hold in here. That's what we said. Literally yesterday, I drew that exact candle. Almost probably exactly that size. I said, if it shows me that candle, I'm out. It showed me that candle. So I got out. BX. I'm thinking about it. No, I'm still looking to find the strength. Caterpillar, not quite yet. CLS, waiting for the next pullback. Cisco. If you got it, maybe, right? Yeah. If you took this trade, I could see why you would. If you're carrying this trade, I could see why you would. Delta, same thing. Oh, it's right. So close, right? This is this candle here, low of 67.58. You're at 67.50 now. I took Cisco. Steve W said, yep, I like it. I get it. There's the Dow engulfing. Here's Fastenal. Not there yet. Hanging on Delta with the hedge. There you go. It gives you that license to not just to sit on it, right? Where you're like, hey, all right, it makes sense. Okay. Flex. Right? We talked about this type of a pattern with these big gaps and the fact that they haven't gotten back up and closed that gap. If you remember, I called some of these a dead cat bounce, and that at the end of the day, the cat's still dead. And so if you are starting to think speculatively, this is the kind of thing where I'm like, hey, what made a lot of money going up can make a lot of money coming back down. Right? You see things like this, and it's like this one, and that's the difference between this and Cisco for me. Cisco had a bit of a gap, but didn't have all of this, and it's already back in its own range. I know it's subtle, but it is different. So I really don't like the way that flex is looking right there, rolling over like that. GBTC couldn't get above that old resistance at 85, but still has a bit of a cup and handle pattern. There's another one of those. Getting up. It's not getting back into this space. It's struggling, and it looks like it could roll over. And maybe GE Vernova is a $200 stock. It went from $200 to $450 in like 4 months. There's plenty of profit there to give back. Just saying. Gold, still bullish. Google. I like Google, but you're close to earnings. But Google looks very strong. Goldman Sachs looks very strong. It's barely starting to pull back. So there's still plenty of strength in financials overall, for my opinion. IBM. Yeah, we're just spectating on that one. IP, setting up beautifully. I think that looks great. I think this looks absolutely fantastic still. This is a above the 50 cup and handle. Tested there, got back up. Now, I mean, it's a bit more, but it's fine. I don't need it to take out here. I just need it to get like above this body, maybe something like this. I'm thinking about that, even come Monday. Plenty of strong things still, you guys. Right? So, yes, there's concern, but if we get through these tariffs without too much I don't know. What's the word? Carnage? IWM sitting, KKR. Plenty of strength there. Plenty of strength in MasterCard. Plenty of strength in Meta. Communication services still looks really quite strong overall. Okay, MS. Pulling back, looks strong. Microsoft. That's a no for me. NDAQ. But I'll always watch that. That's always going to be on my core list. NDAQ overextended. Netflix. Kind of just sitting there, stalled out after a big earnings report. NVIDIA. Yeah, that's if it breaks. If it breaks here, next stop is close to 100. Like I said, there's plenty to give back. PLTR looks fine. Looks like it could go into maybe a handle on this cup and handle. A big came down, got back up. Maybe it gives us an entry. I love PLTR. I'll definitely look to trade that again. Roblox. Overextended. Earnings coming up. Nothing there for us. Reddit. Overextended. Starting to pull back. Maybe a trade developing here. Rocket Labs was another one that I'm thinking about for Monday. Nice little pullback. The sellers have had some time. What have they done? Nothing. Buyers start to come back in. We know they can push this thing. SoFi gave a little bit of a weird hiccup, but it overall still has some potential, I think. I've already got some financials, though. Here's the market. We now have 2 minutes to go, but this volume will keep coming in. We're now at 50 million versus 49 average. I don't know. We might drop a quarter point on volume this week. TJX overextended. No. You can see why we're really the only thing we thought about and that we put on as alert was the hedge. Everything looks overextended. Things are starting to pull back. We're fighting some negative news that will lead to global market turmoil. TSM. Even TSM. The fact that they aren't getting back up or even close to those old levels, that's concerning to me. Twilio looks great. Waiting for a pullback. Bullish dollar. Sitting. Here's the VIX. Yeah, definitely a bullish engulfing. Right? Definitely a bullish engulfing. Definitely gave us the hedge signal. So, what was the ultimate course of action for today? Took profit on Walmart. Good profit. Almost got to the target, but got a good gain. Took a loss on Bank of America. Wasn't terrible at all. A really small loss. Carrying AXP. So those are the recent alerts. Put the alert on, or put the hedge on. Hedge/speculative, because it's... There's the closing bell. There it is. You've got still some time between now and Sunday morning to work on your trading plan. Make sure you go work on Section 2. We're moving on to Section 3. And then we will posture the market. What's the expectation? I'm leaning towards a slight drop in the score. Yeah, today kind of finished on a sour note. But I feel like we're well positioned for it. I think we have the right perspective for it. I'm not concerned. I wouldn't choose this if you're like, hey, is this what you would script? Of course not. But I'm not concerned. I feel like I'm in control. That's how I want to end the week. So hopefully you're feeling the same way. If not, let's talk about it, but we won't talk about it till Sunday. It's good to see everybody. Have a great weekend. I appreciate you coming out, hanging out with me to end your Friday. As always, happy trading.